what is the greatest gift ever given? Is it life itself? Is it love? Or is it something more dangerous? Something that, once given, can never be taken back. In the grand, cruel theater of Greek mythology, one of the oldest and most powerful gods, a titan named Prometheus, answered that question. And for his answer, he would pay a price that is, even now, almost impossible to comprehend. This is the story of the god who chose humanity. Before the dawn of civilization, the world was ruled by the mighty Olympian gods, led by the thunderous and tyrannical Zeus. And far below them, cowering in caves and darkness, was their newest creation, mankind. They were frail, helpless things, living short, brutal lives at the mercy of the cold, the dark, and the wild beasts that hunted them. They had no knowledge, no art, no hope. They were simply alive. But one being saw something more in them, Prometheus. His name meant forethought, and he saw a future for humanity that even Zeus could not imagine. Prometheus was not an Olympian. He was a titan, one of the ancient race of gods that Zeus had overthrown. Yet, he had fought alongside Zeus, and for that, he was spared the fate of his brethren who were cast into the dark pit of Tartarus. But Prometheus was different. He was a craftsman, an artist. It was he who had molded the first men from clay, and he felt a strange, paternal love for his fragile creations. He could not stand to see them suffer. His first act of defiance was subtle, an act of clever deception. At a great feast, a sacrifice was to be made to the gods. Prometheus was tasked with dividing a great ox. He cleverly wrapped the best cuts of meat in the creature's ugly stomach, and concealed the bones and gristle under a rich, glistening layer of fat. He then presented both portions to Zeus, asking the king of the gods to choose which part he desired for the divine sacrifices forevermore. Zeus, fooled by the appealing appearance of the fat, chose the pile of bones. When he discovered the trick, his rage was immense. Prometheus had humiliated him and favored mortals over the gods. As punishment for this insolence, Zeus declared that humanity was unworthy of the gods' greatest gift. He took from them the one thing that could lift them out of the darkness: fire. He hid it away on Mount Olympus, condemning mankind to an existence of shivering in the dark, eating their food raw, and living in constant fear. For Prometheus, this was a cruelty beyond measure. He saw his creation on the brink of extinction, and he knew he could not let it stand. This was the moment of his great, tragic choice. He knew the mind of Zeus. He knew the king of the gods did not tolerate betrayal, and that the punishment would be eternal and absolute. But when he looked down from the heavens and saw the shivering, terrified humans in the gloom, his pity outweighed his fear. He would defy the heavens themselves for the sake of his creation. With a heart full of rebellion, Prometheus began his perilous ascent of Mount Olympus. He moved through the divine realm like a shadow, his mind set on a single, audacious goal. He crept to the sun chariot of Helios as it rested, or by other tellings, the divine forge of Hephaestus, and there, he lit a torch. He concealed the stolen, divine ember within the hollow stalk of a giant fennel plant, a vessel that would smolder slowly, keeping the flame alive on his long journey back to the world of mortals. Imagine that moment, the moment Prometheus returned to the earth, the stalk in his hand glowing with a forbidden light. He approached the dark caves of men and presented them with his gift. For the first time, humanity felt true warmth. For the first time, they saw their faces illuminated in the night. This was not just a flame, it was the spark of civilization. With fire, they could forge tools, cook food, create art, and gather to tell stories. With fire, they could finally begin their own ascent out of the mud and into the light of knowledge. Prometheus had not just given them fire, He had given them a future. When Zeus saw the fires burning brightly on the earth below, his fury was unlike anything the cosmos had ever seen. This was not just theft. It was the ultimate act of rebellion. It was a declaration that humanity was now on its own path, no longer completely dependent on the whims of Olympus. And for that, the punishment had to be legendary. It had to be twofold. One for the mortals who accepted the gift, and one for the god who gave it. For humanity, Zeus devised a punishment disguised as a gift. He commanded the gods to create a woman of breathtaking beauty, Pandora, the all-gifted. She was sent to Earth with a sealed jar, a supposed wedding present. Despite Prometheus's warnings to his brother, the jar was opened, and from it flew out all the evils that have plagued humanity ever since. Sickness, war, envy, despair, and death. All that remained inside, trapped beneath the lid, was hope. Mankind now had the fire of knowledge, but they would forever be tormented by the evils that came with it. But the punishment for Prometheus himself was far more direct, far more brutal. Zeus had him dragged to the highest peaks of the Caucasus Mountains, to the very edge of the world. There, he was chained to a great rock with unbreakable bonds forged by Hephaestus himself. He was left exposed to the blistering sun by day, and the freezing winds by night. And every single morning, a monstrous eagle would descend from the sky. It was no ordinary bird. It was an instrument of divine torture. It would land upon his chest, tear his flesh open with its talons and beak, and feast upon his immortal liver. All day, he would endure this agony, and every night, after the eagle departed, his liver would regenerate, growing back completely, only so that the torture could begin anew at the next sunrise. Day after day, year after year, an eternity of conscious, unending pain. Yet, even in his agony, Prometheus remained defiant. He held a secret, a prophecy about a future marriage that would lead to a son who would one day overthrow Zeus himself. Zeus sent his messenger, Hermes, to demand the secret, but Prometheus, though in unimaginable pain, refused. He would not yield. He had made his choice, and he would endure its consequences with unbreakable will. He suffered not just for a crime, but for a cause, the freedom and enlightenment of mankind. So what is the lesson in the tragic story of Prometheus? He is the ultimate symbol of rebellion against tyranny, of the painful, necessary struggle for knowledge and progress. He represents the idea that true enlightenment often comes at a terrible cost. The fire he gave us is not just the flame in our hearts. It is the fire of ambition in our minds, the spark of creativity in our souls, and the burning desire for discovery that pushes us to reach for the stars no matter the risk. He suffered so that we could have the choice to become more than what we were created to be. Was Prometheus a reckless traitor who unleashed chaos? Or was he humanity's greatest champion? What does his fire represent to you today? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you believe these ancient stories hold powerful truths for our modern world, please give this video a like and subscribe to Aether Mythos. Thank you for watching.